You're listening to the Remote Millionaires Podcast, the show for aspiring and established entrepreneurs who want to create and scale six-figure success online without being chained to a job, location, or computer. I'm your host, Tom Gaddis. Let's dive in. Aloha and welcome to the Remote Millionaires Podcast. Jill, how's it going?
Great, thank you. And it's actually sunny and warm here in the UK today, so even better. Thank you very much.
Nice. Yeah, you know, it's been interesting here in Las Vegas where I'm at right now. It's been unusually cool. Like it's June today, It's like 84 degrees outside, which never happens in June. Normally it's like 115. So I've been enjoying the nice outside when you can go out without baking.
Oh, that's perhaps about the same as it is here, 84 at the moment. It's 21 degrees, but we think that's hot.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Nice. Well, welcome to the podcast. I know I want to start off by having you tell listeners a little bit about yourself. So why don't you let them know where you're located and kind of what you're doing over in your area?
Yeah, I'm over, obviously, in the UK. I live in a county called Cheshire and a small sort of little Cheshire town called Sandbach, and that's made up of loads of little towns. So there's lots of little towns with lots of businesses around the area. So the business itself, I've been running really since 2017. But prior to that, I did do a couple of years studying biopsychology. So that is where my sort of digital marketing started. It's a bit different than most people, which is very techy. I'm a bit different because I did all the biopsychology for the copywriting side of websites and how long clients stay on websites, what do they want, how long, why do they come off a website and all that sort of stuff. So over 2 years, I developed an assessment, and I first joined BNI in 2017 to promote just a website assessment. So that's where I was then, and I'm a little bit different now. But yeah, it's amazing how it does sort of grow steadily over a few years.
That's super interesting. So, by the way, for listeners who maybe don't know what BNI is, BNI stands for Business Networking International. It's a paid networking group. And the way BNI works is they have one member from each profession. So you can only have like one real estate agent, one website designer, one plumber. And the idea of the group is that you all refer business amongst each other, not your own business, but business of people you interact with. And I know, Jill has been using BNI to get clients and stuff for a while. I've been a part of BNI in Maui and in Hawaii. Super great organization if you're trying to get a digital agency off the ground. It's a great place to get clients. But Jill, with that out of the way, what you were saying there about you didn't start from the technical side. So basically you came in and you were doing were you analyzing the copy and the content of people's websites, and then you were selling a service to help them optimize that?
So I would do a full assessment on a website, which we charged around about £200, £250. And I would start with the headline, going all the way through, looking at the copy, the amount of words, the content, looking if there was any sort of words of motivation, all the sort of things that you go through on a website that obviously I understand all that now, but it's quite interesting. Why does somebody come off a website? Why are they bored? Why aren't they sort of hooked in? All the hooks really I sort of learned along the way. And that's what I sold really for a couple of years within BNI.
And that's great. And I have said I've said it before, I think copywriting as a skill is one of the best skills that you can develop, especially if you're in any type of marketing game, whether that's digital marketing, remote marketing, like we do, whatever it is, because I have found that one skill has helped me in more areas than just about anything else. Because, and I want to talk a little bit about this because you said you weren't a technical person. Now, obviously over the years, you've learned the technical side of it. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When you understand the psychology, the principles and the strategy behind what makes someone take an action and do a thing or get a better result, it's really easy to, I shouldn't say easy. It's you can figure out the technologies because the technology will always change and be different, but the principles, the strategies, the things behind what makes great marketing and what moves somebody to buy, those don't change.
exactly. And after, when I'd been in BNI a couple of years, someone suggested, and I think I was wondering why I was just doing the assessment. I thought, actually, we need to start building these websites ourselves. I actually don't do the techie stuff, because if you asked me to build a website, well, it wouldn't look too good. But my hubby and my daughter, because we J Law Associates, so we Jill and Laura, but my daughter still does work, plus she also does the website. So between us, we started just doing basic WordPress websites, but locally. And that, you know, in 2-3 years, especially during sort of COVID and stuff, it just became on leaps and bounds, really, with just offering websites and keeping it simple rather than trying to do everything all at once. And then you just sort of get yourselves in a little bit of a pickle, really. So, yeah, that's where we were. And then where we are now compared to where we are then, it's just amazing. But we've just kind of took it slowly rather than like going sort of all guns blazing, trying to do it all, and then sort of like, you know, not getting there, or not getting as far as we want to go, really. So
yeah, well, you know, it's interesting because your approach, I think, is right on, and that's something that we talk about, especially inside our community and Remote Millionaires and those places. Is, you know, in the beginning, especially, you do want to just focus on one thing and get that thing down. Like, you know, Nick and I didn't spring forth with this big agency that ran itself, right? It's been a process. It's a process to build a business, and I think sometimes you feel, I don't know how you felt from your side, but for us, we felt like we were moving much slower than everyone else around us. But in the end, we ended up with a bigger business because we stayed focused. We call it the circle of focus. We stayed focused from one thing. And once that thing got, you know, kind of got systematized and we had a process down, then we added the next thing in. And it was a process of just layering one thing on top of the other. And I think it's great that you have a family business. You kind of got everyone involved. It's so funny. My daughter told my wife yesterday, my youngest daughter said that she was going to be an intern for me so that she could learn all my secrets and then start her own company to knock me out of the market.
I bet she will, by the sounds of what you say about her.
Yeah, that was crazy. So you started off just doing the assessments, then you went into the website. So your husband, your daughter, they're helping you with the technical side of things. What kind of, what kind of attracted you to Remote Millionaires? Like what were you guys looking to change in your business?
I joined the Sharks for 13 months so before I actually joined the Remote Millionaires.
Yeah, you've been a member of our community for a long time.
Yeah, I followed you guys like a hawk because I'm like, you know, I'm a bit sort of, I'm just a bit cagey. Well, it was literally my initial internet marketing guru guy that recommended yourselves as the Shark. So he said, I think this is going to be up your street, because he was always saying to me, you know, you need to expand if you want to get anywhere, you've got to scale. So I followed you for 40 months. So I mean, obviously used quite a few of your tools, and I thought, this is just, we are getting somewhere, but still not quite getting where we want to get. So long conversations. Even back in November, I had a few conversations with Lucy, but then I thought, no, I'm not doing it. But then eventually took the plunge in April, and yeah, it's a roller coaster in a way, but it's absolutely brilliant because I can take my time with it. I can do it in my own time, and we're learning all the time. And I've got my own VA now.
Which you didn't have before, right? So you've been able to bring somebody in to relieve some of that work.
Fab. She does 10 hours for me at the moment, but she just goes beyond. She's just amazing. Just followed really how you teach it on Remote Millionaires, going through your system. Yep. So I've got her. She's amazing. I already outsourced SEO, but I'm thinking of re-looking at that now as well from all what I'm learning. So it's just, yeah. And I've also, by the end of June, we will be on track to where I wanted to be for April and June. It's not mega, and I've had a few setbacks, not horrendous setbacks. We've had 2 babies within 10 days, grandchildren, and also my mum's in hospital. So there's a lot going on, but the business is actually still ticking over, which I think even 4 months ago it wouldn't have done. I would have just dropped tools and that would have been it for, I would have just took my eye off the ball. I do think I have took my eye off the ball a little bit, but it's still maintaining a steady pace, which is good. And I don't think I would have seen that So yeah, it's just following, it's listening, following, and the advice that I'm getting. I do ask a lot of questions as well.
Yeah, which is great. And two, a big part of the program is the accountability part. Like I never really, especially when I was first getting started, I never really understood how when you take a leap or a plunge into a program like Remote Millionaires, it really does change your perspective, because you're investing time, money, resources. You really have a different view of wanting to get it done and staying accountable and putting the steps in place, because you have skin in the game, right? You have some skin in the game. Whereas I used to always try in the beginning to learn things on my own, which can be effective. And I did learn a lot that way, but it wasn't really until I started, really kind of invest, like treating my business. I would say treating my business like a real business. I didn't do that for a long time. I didn't do that for a long time. But yeah, I've been excited to watch the progress you've made inside Remote Millionaires, and hiring the VA and doing those things, and asking a lot of questions is definitely the way to go. And I think it's really smart, the thing you said too, about how you kind of came into our community and you just sort of hung around and learned and did that for a while, because, there's so many, I don't know. We've been doing this, like the teaching side of things, since 2016. So what is that? Six years we've been doing it. And just in the time that we've been doing it, I've seen so many people come and go. Like people just don't stick around. And I think it's really important that you find a community and a place where you can ask questions and learn that is going to be there and is going to be dependable, which I think is something that, our community is really great at, because the people come, they stay, people like you, they ask questions, all that stuff. So awesome. Yeah. So where are you looking to go with your business moving forward?
Well, over the next sort of 10 months, I would like to think, even sort of my goal to get to September, because we're all on a summer break, aren't we now, really, July and August. But for September, I'll be halfway through like the 12 months of Remote Millionaires, because my VA is working quite hard on Go High Level as well. I mean, it was really good today. I came in and she'd got a ticket set up and everything for me, because we just got a few issues with it. And it's just like, oh my God, because I've been to the hospital seeing my mum, thought that's all been done. I don't have to, I can't get over this VA thing. It's just fantastic.
What a great feeling, right? when you're like doing what you do in your life and you come back and things in your business are being taken care of, you're just
exactly. It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, so, it's like, woo.
To September, I would like to think we've got more, because I think I lack in prospecting regularly. And what I'd like to do is set up maybe 4 hours a day, but with different channels, not just me, but I've got an appointment setter starting. And, I think my VA might do some work on sort of like videos as well, because she's learned a lot and she's quite savvy. So she's quite happy to do things like that as well. So I think if I could say 4 hours a day by September, that's all in place and in motion, I'd be really happy, because I just feel like, I go networking myself, so that I don't find that an issue. And I do get local Facebook inquiries, because I just put local Facebook posts on every day. That's just organic. It's not, it's not paid ads at the moment. And then maybe forward to doing the paid ads as we move further into the year. So a lot going on. Exciting, really.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, congratulations on that. I mean, that's so, I love those stories, because I remember that feeling of when I was doing something else and I came back and problems in my business were solved. And I was like, oh my gosh, why have I not been doing this sooner?
I think my worry was, could I afford it? I mean, we don't take a lot of money out of the business, because at the moment, I think we've got to build it up. My daughter would like to do a lot more in the business. I mean, she's just had her baby, so it's going to be, her life's changed from corporate to maybe she wants to spend a lot more time at home with the little baby. So over the next sort of 6-12 months, she's going to be learning a lot more as well, which is absolutely great. So I think ploughing time and energy and money into the business is so important. And I think people don't realise that. You can't do it on a wing and a prayer.
Yeah. Well, and the other things that you said you're doing there are super smart as well. One, I mean, you're doing, like, I like to do networking too. So, you know, I'm just that kind of person. Yeah. So doing the networking yourself, that's great. And then also, you know, just being visible on your own social media in your local area. I mean, that's another great way to pick up kind of what we call some low-hanging fruit, right? Like, you're just out there letting people know what you do. People have I think a misconception that they need to be seen as a big, slick marketing agency. But I have found, especially in the beginning, it's almost a little better when people see you as a local small business, because they're more, they want to work with people like that, right? They don't want a big nameless, faceless agency from wherever. They want to work with somebody that they feels real and authentic and all those things. So
yeah, and I think COVID has changed that as well. I think people have realized they don't want to spend hours on a phone. They'd rather just see if they can speak to someone or even meet up with them or whatever, and, you know, and sort of have local people. She's good. It's brilliant.
Yeah. What's one of the biggest kind of, like, I don't know, lessons or aha moments that you've had inside the Remote Millionaires program?
The biggest lesson, I would say, for me, I need to follow what I'm learning, because you can listen to stuff, but you don't take it in. I know you did some, you were talking about this a few weeks ago, and then, I get that. And then you just forget it. So for me, is actually, I mean, I keep going back to stuff all the time, slides, all like your methods, because I've got to keep doing it till it sinks in, and it's just because I know how good it is. So I'm driven back to it anyway, which is fantastic. I need to do that again because I've missed something. It's not miss a trick, really, because if you've got 1,000 tricks and you're taking 70 of them, you're on that way. Whereas if you just skip through it, then you're never going to learn a thing. So I think for me it's just repetitiveness, really, on everything that I do. I've got to keep going back to stuff and learning. And all the content's in there. She's amazing. It's just brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it's the execution, right? The information is everywhere in today's age. It's the actual execution of it. And two, like, one thing we talk a lot about is really putting the fundamentals in place. Like, most of the time when somebody has a digital agency, you say, look, you need to be prospecting every day, and everybody nods their head. And I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. But do they actually do it every day? Most people fall short there. And I think it's great that you're putting things in place, and especially that you're aware of that. And nobody's ever perfect at it, right? It's always a process, and there's always progress to be made. And you never hit a point where you're like totally comfortable with everything. You're always like, oh, we could make this better. We could do that, you know? Yeah. All that stuff. So
I think it's making me aware of what I don't do to get there. And some of it is so not simple, but it's, if I carried on doing it, it would become, we would get to another level. And that's what we need to get to by the end of the year. Yeah. We're getting there.
I'm sure you're going to do it. I can see it in the questions and all that stuff. You're on the right track. So just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Jill, is there any advice you would give to anyone who's listening to this podcast that maybe wants to, grow their agency or get started in an agency that would help them?
I think you need to learn from those that know what they're doing. And I think, like, the Remote Millionaires definitely know what they're doing. And it's always the shiny new object. So you can look, something always comes up on your newsfeed, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, we can get you so many leads in about 10 minutes and they're all going to, and it just doesn't happen like that. Just stick to the information in there and you will actually get somewhere, even if you're starting from scratch. Because there's a few guys in there that have got no experience at all, and I can see how they are moving forward now. Some have got to move very fast, but because they're giving it completely 100% all day, every day. And I think it just depends on what time you've got, but it really is just follow that guidance, and I think it's so important, and stick to that one thing. I am not going out of that for the minute, just literally taking your advice, because I think I'll move forward quicker than just looking elsewhere all the time, and I think it's so easy to do. because digital marketing is just thrown in your face, isn't it, all the time, in adverts and everything. So,
well, and we're super interested in it. Like, we want to learn all that stuff. We want to know what all the hot, neat things are. Sometimes it's hard to keep that in, but I think
don't give up.
Yeah. Don't give up. And I think your advice to find people that are doing what it is you want to do. Yeah. That's the big key. Like, if they say do they really have an agency? Are they really working in an agency every day? Like, those are the kind of people that you want to follow, because things change pretty rapidly, and you want somebody who's on the ground seeing all that stuff themselves. So, yeah,
I think when I first joined the Sharks, I thought, actually, you get me from where I want to go in the business. You got me, what I mean? You're on the same wavelength as me. And I think it takes a while for people to find somebody like that. You can search and go and buy loads of courses and not find people. So, yeah, great.
Well, awesome. Well, Jill, thanks so much for joining us on the Remote Millionaires podcast. It was a great interview. A lot of good nuggets in there. So if you're listening to this, go back, make sure you grab a pen and paper and take some notes along the way, because, Jill has a great agency. She's taking action. She's doing what you need to do to grow a real business. And so, the insights, the advice you drop in this episode will be super valuable to you. So, Jill, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And if you enjoyed listening to this episode, go to wherever you listen to this podcast and leave us a 5-star review. We'd really love that. And I will see you next week on another episode of the Remote Millionaires podcast. Hey, if what you've heard today on the Remote Millionaires podcast resonates with you and you want to continue the conversation, then I want to personally invite you to head over to remotemillionaires.com and schedule your free Remote Millionaires business development call. We will analyze your business and show you exactly how to accelerate your results and build a wildly successful business you can run from anywhere. Until next time, Tom Gaddis signing off.